Good morning.
Good
Welcome
morning.
to the Heart of an Underdog show with Javi and Jessica Madrigal, where we talk about how to adapt and overcome your biggest health challenges so you can beat the odds, live in victory, turn your pain into purpose, right? You want to live the life you want to live, and that's what we're here to help you do. Listen, today we have this amazing guest, really inspiring story. Chris DT Gordon is here to talk about his battle with necrotizing fasciitis. So you got to stay tuned for that.
Yes, and remember to share this episode with your friends and family. You can download all of our episodes at heartofanunderdog.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. You could also catch us live every Saturday morning, 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on facebook.com/Heart of an Underdog.
Yeah, listen, and if you want to be a part of this mission, if you want to be, on the mission with us of getting people healthy, of getting people to get to the life that they really want to have, we ask that you would just partner with us. And those of you who've been asking how you can support our show, how you can support our mission on our show, make sure you jump over to javiandjessicamadrigal.com. You can become a sponsor of this show, this podcast, and be a partner with us. So you can partner with us for as low as $5 a month. Every little bit counts. Listen, we appreciate every partner that we have, and all of this effort goes towards helping people with ultimately their optimal lifelong health. So we thank you for that partnership. Hey, today we are so excited. We've been waiting for this interview because this is such an incredible story. You guys do not want to miss this. I'm going to introduce Mr. Chris DT Gordon to you. He is a faithful husband, father of 3, online middle school special education teacher, professional speaker, podcast host, co-author, runner, recommended black belt in Tae Kwon Do. He's not busy at all, guys. And pop culture geek, also our people. He is a survivor of necrotizing fasciitis, flesh-eating bacteria, if you don't know what that is, who uses his story of overcoming this and message to inspire high school students and other young adults to adopt the attitude of gratitude, or TAG, and to overcome their personal bacteria, increase their positivity and gratitude, and make the world around them a better place. I cannot think of a better mission and a better person to give it. Hey, listen, help me to welcome to the show, Chris DT Gordon. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris, how's it going?
How are you doing?
Hey, guys. I am so happy to be here. Thank you very much for having me on your show. I greatly appreciate it.
Oh,
Oh
absolutely.
yeah, we've been sorry that it's been so long. I mean, it's like it's been such a long time since we talked to you, and we just been can't wait to get into this. But yeah, we've been wanting you on the show. We wish we could have had you a lot sooner.
I know. I sometimes think, do we need to have a show more often than once a week? Like it's a lot of
Right.
work, but like I want to have these people on. There's so many guests that we have lined up that we just can't wait to have.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Monica's here.
Good morning, Monica.
Good morning. Happy Saturday. Hello.
Thanks for
Welcome
joining
to the
us.
podcast.
Hi, Monica.
Hey, Chris says hi. Hey, so listen, let's start out by just getting to know you a little bit. Those people out there in our audience that don't know who you are and what this whole necrotizing fasciitis thing is about. Let's talk about though, where you live, like what your family life is like. Who's Chris besides the battle that you overcame?
Certainly. So I live in New Ulm, Minnesota, which is about 2 hours southwest of the Twin Cities. I grew up in Michigan. I'm a troll by birth. And those who don't know, a troll is someone who lives under the bridge. So I lived under the bridge of the Mackinac Bridge in the Lower Peninsula of Michigan. I grew up there. And in 2002, I moved to Minnesota. And I'm married to a wonderful woman named Becky. She's a teacher as well. She teaches here in the public school system of New Ulm. We have 3 kids, Josh, Seth, and Anna, and also a 17-year-old schnoodle named Max, who he's slowing down a bit, but he still gets around. My daughter and I took him for a walk this morning. He was actually able to run for about a block. So I'm very proud of him.
Right. It's doing better than I can lately, I guess.
I can run for a block, so that's great. No, that's perfect.
Yeah, no, it's we're living the dream here. As you can see, as you said before, I am a pop culture geek. I love the MCU. I went to see Shang-Chi with my sons yesterday in a theater full of we had full of empty seats. It was like 7 people total in the theater, so we felt safe. We ate our popcorn and drank our slushie and enjoyed the movie. It was really awesome. This morning I went for a run myself with our run club, and I'm getting ready for a couple races in the next couple of weeks. I'm excited for that. Starting the school year, we had our back to school meetings, and I'm getting ready to teach online for my 10th year. Yes, I've been doing it before any pandemic.
Wow. Yes.
So I am well versed in virtual presentations, and and as you said, was that Javi?
No, that's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's I used to teach in a school district 50 miles away, and that was when we had one kid. We just had Josh, and that was doable. But when Becky and I found out we were having twins, that wasn't going to fly. So I essentially traded my 50-mile commute to 50 steps.
Yes.
That's awesome.
And we understand the twins dilemma for sure. Like, it's a whole other ball game, man.
Yeah,
it is. It went from double man coverage to zone defense.
That's right.
Zone defense.
So
true.
That is so true.
Yeah.
That's like the best analogy ever. Okay. So tell us then, like, so you had your life, you're living your life. And so get us into the story of what happened when how did you get diagnosed with this crazy bacteria that you had just suddenly come upon you in your life? What happened with that? How did you know?
Certainly. Well, on Wednesday, March 18th, 2015, I was helping Becky get their kids ready for daycare and school. Josh was going to kindergarten. The twins were going to daycare. And Seth, our younger son, was 2, toddler age. So he was toddling around, walking around the backyard, kind of aimlessly. So I picked him up and started flying him like an airplane to our detached garage where the van was. So I'm flying him back and forth, too far to the right, scratch my hand in the garage wall. No big deal. I put him in the car seat, kiss them all goodbye. And as Becky and the kids leave, I walk back into the house, clean out my wound, and start teaching. No big deal. 3 days later, it's a Saturday. I wake up and I look at my right arm and I have a big lacrosse ball sized bump on my elbow. Don't usually wake up like that. So I went to the urgent care where the doctor, after looking at it for a minute, put his finger to his lips and said, it looks like it might be bursitis, which is an inflammation of the bursa sac in your joints. I would keep an eye on it and see if anything happens. So I drove home and I kept an eye on it as it grew and grew.
Oh my God.
And grew until my right arm was 3 times the size of my left.
Wow.
I look like the Incredible Hulk in mid-transformation.
Yeah, that's the kind of gains you don't want.
No gains. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't. Yeah. Any bodybuilders out there, this is not the way to do it. So, but I wasn't smashing anything. I was very lethargic, really nauseous. And so after we procured a babysitter for our kids, Becky drove me to the emergency room and they quickly admitted me because, hello, giant right arm, and got to a room. However, once they started taking my vitals, they found out something else was wrong. Not only did I have a ginormous right appendage, but I also had sepsis.
Oh, no.
And for those who don't know, sepsis is basically an exaggeration of the body where it pumps a chemical into the bloodstream to kill a foreign agent. However, the side effect of sepsis can be death.
Yes.
So I had a poison running through my veins. I had a huge right arm. Not how I usually like to spend a Saturday night, but you got to roll with it. So
that's right.
They keep me overnight. And in the morning, that attending doctor comes up to my gurney and says words I will never forget. She said, "Mr. Gordon, this is beyond us. We can do nothing more for you here. Where do you want to go?" So
What?
I immediately said Mayo, which is like the share of hospitals. You say Mayo, everyone knows what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But and for those who aren't exactly sure what I'm talking about, the Mayo Clinic is in Rochester, Minnesota, 2 hours east of New Ulm. And it's one of the most prestigious hospitals in the world. So they get the paperwork ready. They get everything lined up. I call Becky, let her know what's going on. And then they drive me via ambulance to the municipal airport and fly me to Rochester. Quickly, after we land, they quickly ambulance me to the hospital, and that's where they officially diagnosed me with necrotizing fasciitis, or as you said, flesh-eating bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
It was after that point, it was a little bit of a blur because once they knew what was going on, they started to give me chemicals, started giving me medication, painkillers, so on and so forth to prep me for surgery. And the last thing I remember was I was in a wheelchair and the surgeon sat opposite me and started telling me what was going on. Now, one of the painkillers I was given was called ketamine. You may have heard of it.
Yeah,
Not
that
only is
sounds
it a powerful painkiller, it also gives you awesome hallucinations.
Oh my gosh.
Well, and the hallucinations came fast and furious later, but at the time, I was acting like I was Arnold Schwarzenegger in True Lies during the scene where he's being interrogated. I'm not sure if you remember this one. He's tied up and he's in a chair. And he lazily tells his captors how he's going to escape and kill them. Well, that was me without the murder. I was very, very confident, almost cocky about the whole situation.
Wow.
My head was listing back and forth, but I'm saying, let's do this. I'm ready. Let's go. Because in my head, I'm thinking, I'm at the Mayo Clinic. If I'm going to die, it's not going to be due to lack of trying.
Mm-hmm.
However, that didn't translate well to the surgeon. He's used to people crying, being scared, asking if I'm going to die. And I'm like, let's do this. If you give me the scalpel, I will do it myself. So I'm like, let's go. So they put me out, and it turns out I'm out for 5 days. I'm in a coma for 5 days. During that time, and I'm gonna give our listeners a care warning here. I should have done that in the beginning. I'm gonna talk about some graphic surgical procedures. So if you are, if that doesn't jive with you, maybe mute the mic or mute your listening device right now. It's gonna get a little graphic here. So I just want to give you a care warning.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you for that.
definitely. The infection started at the back of my right hand where I got the scratch. Remember that scratch I got? It started there and then went all the way up my arm, into my shoulder, and then to the base of my neck, down through my chest, and then up my back.
Oh, gosh.
So they had to remove all of that infected tissue. I was basically filleted.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so once they realized not only how much of it there was, but how deep it was, they cleaned out the area and then saw that the infection had gone farther into my right hand than they had anticipated. So they were going to amputate my right arm. In fact, it was not a question of if, but more of a question of how much should we leave him? It was, they were going to do it. They told Becky they were going to amputate my arm. Wow. It was a certainty. However, that was for the second surgery. During that second surgery, luckily before they grabbed the saw, the attending occupational therapist saw that it still had hand function. So what they elected to do was extract a 15-inch by 4-inch flap of skin from my left thigh and place it on my right hand and forearm. So since this is my thigh on my hand, I call this my thand. Upright tending. You can see, and maybe you can see here, the leg hairs are a little longer than these hairs over here.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, so this is my thand.
Oh my gosh.
But however, being a runner, I have rather large thigh muscles and quadricep muscles. So they actually had to extract my vastus lateralis, the outermost quadricep muscle, from my left leg.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they installed, because the wound was so large, they had to install knobs on either side of the wound and then thread in a Jacob's ladder type contraption. So they would tighten the knobs and slowly close the wound over time.
How long of a time was that?
It took a number of weeks before they could uninstall, take out the knobs.
Wow.
But and close the wound altogether. But then there was the problem of what's going to go over this area here. So they started taking a skin graft harvester, or what I like to call a cheese grater on steroids, and run it up and down my back and my thighs. Now, you might be able to tell that I'm a ginger. If I couldn't tan before, I definitely can't tan now.
I feel you, man. I feel you. I'm a ginger too. Yeah.
Wow.
So it looks like I dipped part of my body in whiteout.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could basically stunt double if they ever recast for Powder. Anyway, so after the 5 days, I wake up and I could go into all the hallucinations I felt, but I don't think this is that long of a show.
Yeah.
So I start getting an idea of what happened. I start hearing, talking about the flesh-eating bacteria. They start telling me what they had to do to save my life. Because at one point I had a 30% chance of survival.
Wow.
And to explain this to kids using probability, imagine that bag of marbles they would show you during math tests. And you had 10 marbles in the bag. 3 of those are life marbles. The other ones are death marbles.
Oh my God.
The chances of me pulling in or reaching that bag and pulling a life marble were 3 out of 10. So it kind of gives you an idea of, it was pretty dicey at one point.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So anyway, go ahead and continue, because I would really like to know. Obviously, I'm very interested in, because I've gone through surgeries, nothing like that, but where they've had to do things basically throughout the body to save you. And I mean, you just said that you're running now and you're active. How is that recovery, and how, I mean, physically, I'm sure you had to go through quite a bit, but then mentally.
Mhm.
Exactly, Javi. And so when I started really gathering what had happened and started really thinking about what was to come, I have what I call that personal bacteria. Personal bacteria, as I explain it, are the negative thoughts that invade our minds when we are facing a challenging event, a life-changing situation, for example, like what I was facing.
Yeah.
They are the thoughts that keep you from moving forward, from having a more positive outlook. So I started thinking about what kind of body am I going to have after this?
Mhm.
What kind of health issues am I going to deal with? What kind of mental or psychological troubles am I going to have? How am I going to be able to relate to my family? What kind of father am I going to be? What kind of husband am I going to be?
Yes.
And so I started really thinking about these ideas. But I didn't really have that much time to ruminate and to go down that dark path, because Becky came to visit me one day and she started telling me about all the wonderful things that people were doing for us in our various communities. In our physical community here in New Ulm, it's March in Minnesota, so there's still snow on the ground. People were shoveling our walkways, snow blowing our driveways, keeping an eye on our house. making sure everything was okay at that end. Becky and the kids and Max ended up staying at their Becky's parents, who also lived in Rochester. That's another main reason why I told the doctors to send me to Rochester. They ended up staying there for 2 weeks. They were only planning on being there for 2 or 3 days. So they had virtually no clothing, no toys for the kids. Remember, the kids are 6 and 2 years old, respectively.
Yeah.
So people started donating clothes and donating toys to my kids and going over to my in-laws' house to play with the kids.
Wow.
The online school I teach at is close to Rochester. So there were actually a number of teachers in that area who came to visit and play with the kids. My brother, who still lives in Michigan, he flew over as soon as he found out what had happened to me, and he stayed for a week to help Becky out, and in some cases deal with some of the very dark and depressing events that might have occurred if had things gone south.
Mm-hmm.
People were donating to a GoFundMe account that a high school friend of Becky's had created that earned over $10,000.
Wow.
So
that's incredible.
I'm being inundated with all this information that Becky's telling me, and all that personal bacteria out of my head, because I was so overwhelmed with gratitude for what people were doing for me and my family, that I started creating what I now call the attitude of gratitude, or TAG.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the thing is that I just want to point that out to our audience, is that even though it wasn't necessarily you going and finding the gratitude, it was just that presence of the overwhelming amount of gratitude. You didn't have a choice. It just kicked out the negativity. You cannot be in gratitude genuinely and also in depression at the same time. You can't be, genuinely in both. You can't be diving down in the deep and then also genuinely in gratitude. One takes over or the other. You can't be, it's like opposing muscles we were talking about the other day. When you're flexing one muscle, you cannot flex the opposing muscle at the same time. You can't do it. And so I love that people don't often understand that when you're talking about gratitude and writing down a gratitude journal, or just at the end of the day, or just stopping what you're doing and saying, okay, I need to get into gratitude, like how powerful that actually is. You're saying to your mind, no, I'm not going to allow you to operate in this mode. We're switching modes. Click the switch. This is what we're doing now. And so you actually stop the process of that negative spiral. And so I love that just the actual situation that you were spiraling about, or that you were being negative about, the situation itself, because of the positive outcome, was what switched your attitude into gratitude. I love that.
That's great.
Exactly, Jesse. And it wasn't that my body had automatically healed itself. It wasn't like, I'm so grateful. Look, I am like, it's not like it's, psychological spinach. It's not going to, I'm not, I'm not totally healed now. But my mind was so much clearer with that gratitude that I knew that I had struggles, but I was not going to allow those struggles to overwhelm me. In fact, the gratitude helped me focus on the struggles so I can overcome them.
I love that you said focus on the struggles, because a lot of times we talk about not focusing on that. But what we're really saying is, don't focus on how the struggle won't be solved. Focus on how it will be solved, what will work, what you will be able to do. And you do have to focus on the struggle to make something work, to fix the problem, to troubleshoot, to think through it and be resourceful. You do have to focus on that. And the problem lies in where we don't divide where to focus. It's not, because when people are like, well, don't focus on it, but I have to because I got to solve the problem. It's like, right. But what happens is because we have to focus on it to solve it, our brain says, yeah, but what about all the fear? What about what could happen? What about what could go wrong? And so we don't intentionally divide that and say, no, okay, I do have to focus on the struggle. Yes. But I'm going to choose to not focus on the part that I don't understand, or that is unknown, is the overwhelm, is the fear, is the worry. I choose to focus on what will work and what I can do. And you're right. I love that you said that gratitude doesn't just fix everything like psychological spinach. No, it's true. It does take time. It does take being consistent with that. But it's what's great about gratitude is it is an immediate resource that we have to decide to take control over our state of mind. We can say, right now, I feel out of control. Right now, in this moment, I feel like I don't have a choice, but you do. And to know that and just go, no, I choose to think this because this is the truth. It's true that I have a family or that I have blessings or that I have a home or that I have whatever things that are going on that you can count as blessings or that you can be grateful for. You have a choice and an opportunity to switch your mindset. And right in that moment, and then that becomes a process you can continue. But it's like nobody's taking that away from us. Nobody can take that away from us. And that's why I love that your whole thing is based on tag, the attitude of gratitude, especially with your audience being young people. Absolutely.
Thank you, Jesse. Yeah, I totally agree that, like I said, it's not that my problems are all solved, but the gratitude gave me the ability to more clearly help work towards solving my problems. And that's what I did. As soon as I was able, I started doing physical therapy. I started getting out of my gurney and walking. Now, a week before I was hospitalized, I had run what they call a Pi Day race, which is because it was on March 14th, which is Pi 3.14.
Okay.
And so it is, 3.14 miles. And I ran that in under 19 and a half minutes, which is pretty good for a guy who's 40.
Yeah.
Now, when you go from that's running a low 6-minute mile pace to struggling to walk 10 steps, because that was my first goal was to walk to the nurse's station and back. The nurse's station was across the hallway from my room. And that took almost everything out of me.
Yeah.
So to go from, run that race to walking those steps, I could have let despair and my negative thoughts take over, but I knew that this is a new starting point. And I had so much going for me, even though I had a lot going against me. I focused on what I had in my corner to get me out of that hospital bed, to grab the sides of that walker and to make it to the second nurse's station and then make it to the end of the short end of the hallway. And then pretty soon I just needed a cane, and I started walking more and more and more because I had that focus that the gratitude gave me.
Oh yeah. And I just wanted to stop you really quick because I just want to make a point that that 1% better every day is something that we often talk about, but just that small goal, if I could just improve what I'm doing from this new starting point, that's such an important thing. And hey, listen, if you guys are just joining us, our audience, if you're just jumping into this podcast, this broadcast today, I just want to welcome you. If you don't already know who Chris DT Gordon is, we are interviewing him today on his necrotizing fasciitis journey and overcoming that. And then all the work that he's doing with youth based on the attitude of gratitude. So make sure you stay tuned to go back to the beginning and watch this. And hey, Chris, CL says, hey, so he just wanted to jump in and say, hey, and I wanted to, he says, hey, I just wanted
What's up, CL? How you doing, man? What's up, brother?
And CL King is actually one of our platinum sponsors. So I'm just going to take this opportunity to talk about him for just a moment. You can go again to our website at javiejessicamadrigal.com and you can become a sponsor too. And he was one of our first sponsors. He's our platinum sponsor. CL King is a professional speaker, host of the Impacting Life 24/7 podcast, creator of the Get in Gear and Grind Mode leadership training programs, master life coach upon all the other things that he does, making an impact on one life, one day at a time. You can connect with CL King at clkingspeaker.com. So make sure you check him out. He's an amazing human being and also part of our family here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you're just joining us, make sure that you check out CL King and Chris DT Gordon. I'm going to bring up Chris's links to get a hold of him later, but I want to continue your story so now you're in recovery and you're really you really have to fight to have this attitude of gratitude in that, because now it's like, I got out of that. I'm going to be in recovery. I'm going to go for it. But it's not, it's an ongoing process in any recovery that you're kind of beat down every step of the way because it's never how we want it to be. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think oftentimes someone like you that was very athletic, when before before my bypass, I have always been someone that's been athletic, and when I had to go through all that, some of the things that we have a hard time with is that comparison game. I was able to do this, but now I'm struggling to just walk across the room or the hall. And that for me was really a struggle, but kind of took the same approach. If I could get there, then I could next time, tomorrow, I'll get the next step. And that's really was born out of that really that 1% better attitude. And I really identify with that moment when you're talking about that because uh, a lot of us, I don't know. I guess I see more guys struggle with that. That we 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 feel less of ourselves, and again, that's part of our identity. We've attached our athletic ability, our strength, to our identity, and in a moment, that is taken away from us. And so, what does that mean? What does that mean for me? And so, um, yeah, I love your example. And I love what you're talking about.
Yeah. Continue your story. We'd love to hear more.
Definitely, thanks. And Javi, I want to piggyback on what you were saying about needing that constant reinforcement of the recovery. The recovery isn't like, hey, I'm all better now. No, it's ongoing. And so I actually my brother bought me an iPad, and one of the first things I did was I ordered a pair of shoes, a pair of Ultra shoes. I could give a plug for Ultra shoes. They're running shoes that have a wide toe box, zero drop. Love them. My toes have never felt better. Anyway, I ordered a pair of shoes so I would have something to run in as soon as I was discharged from the hospital. And so that gave me some incentive. Yeah. I also, I was supposed to be in a race, a Spartan race, which is an OCR, or obstacle course race. Mm-hmm. But it's really hard to say, yeah, I'm going to run this race when I'm laid up in the hospital. So I reached out to them, and they graciously allowed me to postpone my registration and my participation to the following year, which I did. And I found that skin grafts really do help when you're rolling over rocks because there are very few nerve endings. Yeah. They also make you really get the polar plunge. So.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Hey, I want to bring up some comments here. Xeal says, DT is the real deal, an example of how one moment in one day can change your life. Absolutely. And then he adds that you guys are going on to race one day.
All right, man. I'm excited. Let's do it.
It's out there.
It's out there. It's been put in the universe.
All right. You got to do
it. There we go. So, yes, I was doing the physical work, but I also need to keep the psychological work going as well. And so that's where the tag really started kicking in. And the first part of tag is T. And for the T, thank you for that. The T is I started thinking of things I was grateful for, things that were great in my life. Now, when we say, hey, what are you thankful for? The big things pop into mind. My faith, my family, my friends, my house, my job. But then I started thinking about those little things, those seemingly insignificant parts of our lives that actually bring us that daily dose of joy. And so, as I said, my brother had bought me an iPad. One of the first things I downloaded onto the iPad was Netflix. And at the time, the first season of Daredevil was running pretty wild on Netflix. It's as you can tell, I'm a huge geek, and I absolutely love that show. I'm so excited that Charlie Cox might be coming to the MCU, It's,
Oh.
that's going to be awesome if he does.
Oh.
But that show helped me with my recovery because I could binge watch that while letting my body rest. And Javi, as an athlete, a fellow athlete, that rest is one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We always want to keep working and striving. And so when you're forced to rest, that in itself can be debilitating. But since I had the show, I could watch and relax and let my body rest when I wasn't doing PT.
Right.
And then there's the fact that the sun never shined in my eyes when I was laid up in my hospital bed. And I know that sounds really obscure out of left field. Left for me is over here. But when you are confined to one space for an extended period of time and you have virtually no control over your environment, the fact that you don't have to bother someone for one more thing is actually a blessing. So I actually appreciated that the sun never shined in my eyes. So I didn't have to tell someone, hey, can you close the shades so I'm not blinded?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's the hospital pizza. I don't know what you guys think of hospital food, but the deep dish pizza they had at St. Mary's in the Mayo Clinic system was phenomenal.
Really?
I don't
Well,
know
it's the
if
Mayo
it
Clinic. It better be phenomenal.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I don't know if it were because I hadn't had pizza in a while, but man, that pizza was some of the best I had ever had.
Wow, I thought it was gonna go
the other
direction
direction.
because
Yeah.
we automatically think of hospital food as just terrible because I've been in
Yeah.
many hospitals and it's never a good experience. So that's amazing.
No, I absolutely love the pizza. And, for a while, I was digging the protein shakes. However, when you're in deep recovery and it's basically a job to drink protein shakes every day, it gets to be a chore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So I do appreciate that. There was a time, though, when I did not like protein shakes as much as I do now. But still, those are small things that I took into account when I was thinking about what am I thankful for. And today I still do this. For example, this pen, an ordinary pen, you can get it anywhere. But when you need to write something down and you can't find it, all of a sudden this becomes the most important item in your possession.
Oh, so true.
Yep.
And then when you can find it, oh my goodness, thank you so much. It's like the light shines from the heavens down on this little pen. And you were so much more thankful for it because now you can write down what you need to do. You can make your grocery list, your to-do list, whatever, sign that check. It's taking account of the value of what you already have that makes your life a little happier. At least it makes it easier when you have to do tasks. So that's the T. That's the taking in account or counting the good things in your life, both the big things and the small things.
That's great.
And then I started thinking about the A, and that is acknowledging the appreciated. And so when I thought about those people I appreciate in my life, of course, family, friends, all those people rush to mind. But I started thinking about the medical staff. Yes, I'm at the Mayo Clinic. They are phenomenal, top notch. But they are also, at least the nurses I was, I had working with me, were some of the kindest, most genuine people I'd ever met. When you're in the hospital for a long time, you sometimes get this poster that's on your bathroom door. And it's the getting to know you poster, where you're asked, what are some of your favorite things? And you write them down so people can get to know you. One of the items, one of the questions was favorite movie. Now, you guys look around here. I got Iron Man behind me. I got Super Grover over here. I have Transformers lining my walls. I have Star Wars and other places. You could probably guess what movie I picked. Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles. That's
That is
awesome.
the best movie ever.
I absolutely love that movie because I was thinking, what's a movie I could watch over and over again and not get sick of? And that's
Yeah.
it.
There you go. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
one Monday morning, I'm in my bed and nurses are coming in, checking on things. The head nurse, whose name is also Chris, she rushes into my room. She is all flutter. In fact, she can't even talk without stuttering. She says, "Chris, I'm so excited to see you. I was at a garage sale this weekend and I saw this and I thought of you, and here it is." She gave me a DVD copy of Blazing Saddles.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
I am a part of her job. I am nothing more than a checkpoint on her to-do list. But the fact that she thought of me so much that she not only recognized that this was my favorite movie, but she went ahead and bought it and gave it to me.
That's amazing.
Overwhelmed me. And to this
Yeah.
day, it's one of my most prized possessions. Even though I've never opened it, I already have a copy of Blazing Saddles, but just the love and the thoughtfulness that what that gift represented makes it one of my prized possessions.
Yeah.
And
And
so
that's
I
right
will
there.
always, I will
That's
always
one of those-
appreciate her for that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing, is that's one of the most important things we need to all understand about when we think we don't have an impact on people's lives. You don't have to be doing, to our audience, you don't have to be doing what we're doing or what Chris is doing. You could be like that nurse. You could just be doing one thing for someone that changes their life forever, which is as simple as buying them a movie and thinking about, like, just the thought of, I know you love this. I'm going to think about what you need and do something nice for you. I'm going to think about something besides myself today and just impact someone's life for 5 minutes. I mean, and then her joy and how excited she was to give it to you. I mean, you knew that she genuinely wanted to do this for you outside of her job, description, outside of herself as a human being. And I think really the biggest joy you got from it wasn't even that you were being thought of, is that somebody who didn't have to have a human connection with you, only a clinical connection, decided to have a human connection. And human connection, person to person, thinking about a human being, is always worth more than anything else. That's what we all eventually, and genuinely want.
Yeah. I mean, we often talk about, you know, you never know what people are going through that you pass by every day, the people that you interact with every day. And why not show the grocery store clerk uh, some little bit of gratitude? Go the extra mile by just saying thank you or have a great day. Those words
Mhm.
can just change someone's life or someone's day.
Yep.
We actually learned that from our daughters, our twin daughters. They've always had these lovely spirits where they're thankful for everything, and it's just part of who they are.
Mhm.
And they've always, when we go to stores or when they meet somebody, have a great day,
Oh my
or
gosh.
it's so good to meet you.
Yeah.
Genuinely. And
People are
I would
like,
see the reaction on people's faces, these grown adults, where they're, it's like they broke through that hard shell
Mhm.
that person was putting up.
Yeah.
And we get so busy in our lives and so busy in our own struggles and the things that we're going through, we forget
Mhm.
about the life around us and that human
Yeah.
to human interaction.
Well, and so
So
busy in our expectations. I
yes,
mean, because they've thanked people, just as an example for what you're saying. They've thanked people that are treating that like nurses in a doctor's office. They'll do something that's their job, and our daughters will be like, "Thank you for helping me today," and like this cute little thing, and they're just look at her and
yeah.
look at them and
I
just be
s-
like, "Wow,
I saw this.
I never have people thank me for that."
Our daughter has an autoimmune disease, and so we spent a lot of time in the hospital with her at the children's hospital. And I saw this nurse that just absolutely almost broke because um, they had to put a line in, they had to put an IV in, and they were having a hard time. And they had to stick her quite a bit, and it was painful for her. But when they finally got it, my daughter just said, thank you. Thank you very much. And just was so sweet and nice to
The
her.
nurse didn't know what to
She
say.
didn't know what to do.
She was
It
like,
was, but
what?
it stuck with her.
The attitude of gratitude is so contagious, and that's why this is why we wanted to have you on the show so bad. Like, I know we're not going to cover everything today. Like, we're like we're gonna have to have you back someday because there's so much here that is just so important. But go ahead.
No, thank you, and I appreciate you sharing that story, Javi. I know that we get so stuck in our own routines and stuck in our to-do lists that you're right. When someone does something out of, I guess, out of our perceived notion of character, that it does throw us for a bit. And but it is wonderful that your daughters are able to show that gratitude, and I absolutely love that. So thank you for sharing. So that at the A we can do anytime. I mean, you said about the cashiers. Talking with the cashier, noticing his or her name and asking how their day is going. Recognizing that, hey, I know it's your job to serve me, but I'm going to treat you like a person because A, you are, and B, you know what? I really like your help because I couldn't work the cash register myself, and I in stores that even have the the check out yourself, I try not to do those because I want to talk to the human. I want to have that connection, and I want to show my appreciation for their hard work.
Exactly right.
Right.
And like you said, it could definitely make their day. And so, acknowledge people, let them know that you appreciate them because we can't do everything ourselves. We need help.
You shouldn't. Yeah.
Yes. And so we need to show that appreciation. And so the G, the last step, this is where things get going in tag. And I don't know about you two, but I have played tag by myself before. It's boring and more than a little embarrassing. So you want to involve people. And so it's the giving others a reason to be grateful. And we talked about some examples already with Chris giving me the DVD, with your girls, giving their thank yous to those people. And in the hospital, when I was recovering, I really couldn't do as much. I could respond online, but that was basically it. When I was discharged, however, that's when I really started taking action. When I would go on my runs, I now pick up trash that I see on the road or on the sidewalk or even someone's yard, but with not going too trespassy. I'm not going to try to break any laws to clean up, clean their yard, but I want to make my neighborhood more beautiful. And so I try to pick up as much trash as I can. If I notice that my neighbor's lawn needs to be mowed or the sidewalks need to be shoveled, I'll go ahead and do that. I'll go ahead, snow blow or shovel, because I want them to have one fewer thing to worry about. We have neighbors to our south who have twins as well. And so I have an idea what that's like. So I would help them with shoveling or mowing, just to give them one fewer thing to worry about. Yeah. And then there's the classic opening a door for someone. Yep. Now, whether it's someone who is laden with groceries or with boxes, or someone who has nothing in their hands, I want to open that door for them to let them know, hey, I see you, I recognize you. Let me make your day just a little bit better. And the best thing about all those acts is that those cost me zero monies. It's free to do any of those acts. But for the recipient, it could be priceless.
Something that I do is I always let people in traffic, and probably other people hate me for it, but I don't care, because this is the most infuriating thing to me and most people is when you're sitting trying to get into traffic and literally no one, they're like, I don't see you. I'm not going to look over. I'm not looking, because they don't want to make eye contact with you. And then you like looking at them going, you're really not going to let me in. So I always let people in if they're trying to get out to busy traffic, and every time. And I've taught my kids this. I'm like, it doesn't take me any more time. It doesn't cost me any more money. I'm just letting them in. One time I was so snarky. I was on the freeway and this guy was like tailgating me, and he would not, it was a giant truck. I mean, it was a delivery truck. And the guy was just like being unreasonable. He was being in a hurry. It was kind of like, pushing his gas, trying to get me to go faster. But I was going the speed limit or whatever. And then all of a sudden there was a merge onto the freeway. And I thought, oh, I let people in because I don't want to. Well, not only do I like to let people merge because I don't want to get in a car wreck because people don't know how to merge, but like I was like, I'm going to let people in. And the best part is that it gave me an opportunity to let everybody in front of me. This guy was behind me. I let the whole line of people in front of me, and he was like, just like infuriated back there. So he just finally backed off and realized what was happening is that he was gonna have to be patient. But it was so like, I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna let everybody in. So, but it was like, I do that all the time though. It's the little things. You're right. It's those little things that don't cost you anything. You don't have to buy someone's dinner or pay their mortgage. Like you can just do little things where somebody goes, oh, not everybody's a jerk. That was great. Oh, wow. Somebody actually did that. I've been waiting for someone to do that. So yeah. And I love doing things like that because it doesn't take it makes me feel good. It makes me feel like everybody doesn't suck, kind of a thing.
Exactly right.
Exactly. And so by doing those little actions and maybe, share, if you are able to share, tag with them and tell them about it, or just maybe try to be consistent with your actions, and hopefully it'll catch on and other people will want to do that. Because again, playing tag with others is more fun.
Yeah,
exactly right.
I love your analogy because I'm just imagining you running around playing tag by yourself.
Yeah. Like, oh, I'm in again.
You're like, there's a fly. That's all. You look like there's a fly around you.
Yeah, like a human equivalent of a dog chasing its tail.
Yeah, basically. And then that's what it feels like when you don't involve other people in life. Like if you're going into like the analogy is it is like you're chasing your tail. Like you're just trying to do something good, but it has no effect. Like it's not affecting anyone. So you have to include the other people in being grateful, but also giving them a reason to be grateful too. And so, and this is that pay it forward attitude. I love what you're doing. Doing this for the youth is absolutely powerful. Can you tell our audience a little bit more about what you're doing, where you're doing it, and share anything that's going on with you? I know you're part of a summit this week or soon. Can you share all of the things you're doing for youth right now and also where they can find you if they want to connect with you about these things?
Certainly. So just just a way to give some background, as a teacher, I've been teaching for almost 20 years in basically the middle school arena. Obviously, I don't want anyone to contract necrotizing fasciitis or flesh-eating bacteria. Mm-hmm. However, all young adults deal with what I call origin stories. When we think about superheroes, all of them have an origin story, some event that caused them to change the trajectory in their lives. You think of Peter Parker. He got bitten by a radioactive spider. And then while dealing with this, he made a choice. Instead of to listen to his Uncle Ben, he did something else. Uncle Ben dies. Mm-hmm. Instead of becoming a supervillain, he takes that famous saying, with great power comes great responsibility, and became Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. We all have an origin story. Either something that happened to us now is happening to us now, something that happened to us in the past, or something that will happen to us in the future. That's going to let possibly that personal bacteria, those negative thoughts, invade our brains. Mm-hmm. The attitude of gratitude will help that wash that personal bacteria out. Mm-hmm. And help you not, you'll still have to go through the struggles, but give you more gratitude for what you have, help you overcome that personal bacteria, increase your resilience and positivity, and eventually make the world a better place for everyone. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that's what I want to share with young adults. Yes, you're going to have struggles. I can't take that away from you, but I can give you a tool to help you through those struggles and in turn help others around you.
Absolutely.
So, like you said, I am part of a free summit that's a virtual summit that starts on Monday. It's called the Raising Teens Summit. Thank you for sharing that link. Mm-hmm. You can log on. You can go to raisingteensummit.com, register for free. And there are over 10 speakers like myself sharing their expertise from various different areas that teens and parents need to deal with, like, depression, substance abuse, divorce, academic struggles, mental health situations. And it is all free. There is a VIP option, but I think even that is reasonably priced. It's like $47 for much more than you get than the free option. But still, with the free option, you're getting 10 fantastic speakers and me. So it's great, you know. So I would definitely do that. Look into that. Also, I speak on not only online but in person. I actually have a speaking engagement at a running expo next week. I'm so excited. My first
Awesome.
in-person event in over a year. So
Yeah,
I'm
that
really
has to be
excited for that.
exciting.
It is. And I also have a booth as well. So that's really cool. I had to order a banner and some little magnets that have the attitude of
Fancy
gratitude on them.
magnets.
You know what? When you're going to the fridge, it's good to be grateful that fridge is working. So, if you want to reach out to me to find out what I have going on, or you want to start a conversation that will lead to me sharing the attitude of gratitude with your young adults, with a school or an organization you're attached to, you can go to chrisdtgordon.com and you'll find my YouTube channel, my Scar Bears podcast, links to Facebook, Instagram. You can go to @ChrisDTGordon as well. I also have a free downloadable tag one sheet that has the attitude of gratitude on there. So you can print that out as well, put that on your wall. And I also have other websites. I call it Friends of Mine. It's a page where people have their own different websites on there, and you guys are more than welcome to join me on there.
Awesome.
I have to put you on my Friends of Mine page.
That's great.
Of my website.
We friends.
Yeah, we friends now. So go to chrisdtgordon.com and check that out. The YouTube podcasts or YouTube episodes are come out on Mondays, and then the podcasts come out on Thursdays.
Awesome. No, that's
Yes.
great. And you know what? I love that there's so many places to find you. I love that you're doing all these things. Good for you for reaching out and taking your struggle and then telling your story and helping people with, I also love that you're not, yes, I'm sure you could totally help someone with necrotizing fasciitis, but you're taking that one step further and saying, no, people really need what I learned through this in many areas of their lives, especially youth, because this is a tool they could be using for the rest of their lives. Like, start at this age. Don't start when you're 40, figuring out how to deal with, getting over something hard. So I love that, because it really is a tool that will serve them throughout the rest of their lives, and their children and things like that. So you're really making an impact that will make a domino effect, for generations to come, I believe. So really, really cool that you're doing with speaking. Make sure you guys connect with Chris, because especially if you have a teen in your life, or if you have an organization that has teens, this is absolutely one of the best things that you could be doing, is getting leaders and speakers and inspirational stories in front of those teens, and making sure that they have a beacon of light and an example in front of them that will show them exactly what the right things to do are, and the right ways to think, and how it will work for them, especially in the hard times. So Chris, thank you so much for coming on our show today. This has been super just fun to listen. You're so funny, and you're totally our people. Like, we're over here, like, we watch Daredevil too, the MCU, all of it.
I'm like, I want to dive into that because there's so much there that we sometimes
wish we had a geeky podcast that just talks about like pop culture. We would totally dig that all the time.
I do have one quick thing to share with you then. Give me 1 second here.
He's got more.
But wait, there's more. So a year after my incident, my best friend, who also flew in from Montana to see me while I was in the hospital, I forgot to mention that. My best friend Dave from college, he and his wife flew in. We took a road trip from Helena, Montana, where he lives, to Salt Lake City, Utah, to a comic book convention. Yes. And I decided to use my skin grafts as cosplay. Yes. I dressed up as Wolverine. And awesome. I gave Luke Skywalker his missing hand back.
Oh my gosh. This is amazing.
That's
Your
great.
attitude of like, I'm embracing this whole thing is just like fantastic. I can't even begin to tell you how much I love it because your humor, we got jokes over here. Like we do nothing but like joke about our hard times and like get through it. But
that's amazing.
That's totally the next level. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Thanks.
Man,
yeah, I was the hardest thing though was the claws. They were so hard to make. So, but no, I feel that, you know, this is with me. This is part of me. I might as well use it. And hopefully inspire others to do the same.
Totally.
Yeah, exactly right. Man, it's been great having you on. We really appreciate you coming on here.
What an amazing interview. And I hope that, you know, make sure that you guys are going to our podcast, downloading this, listen to it, share it with your friends and family, because this is absolutely not only super entertaining and funny, but like this has been really helpful with just for me to kind of focus on that there's an actual process to this. And I love that you've named it tag. That's great. And that, you know, you play tag with others. This is fantastic program that you have. So you guys reach out to Chris. Thank you so much for being on our show. You know, at some point we got to have you back on. I mean, so we could talk about
and then we'll dive in more
to the geeky stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And
definitely.
All right. Well, you have an amazing day and we will see you next time. Thanks so much.
Bye, Chris.
Bye. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Have a great day yourselves.
Thanks. Bye. Oh my gosh, I could just I want to like dive into all the things he was talking about.
Exactly.
What an incredible story. Are you joking? Like who goes through something like that?
Well, the thing is the best thing about his story is what he took from his story.
Oh, yeah.
And that the tools that he's created, that it's just very simple steps that we all can take, that his tools are designed for us all. We often talk about this. What if we all adopted this? Yep. What if we all did these things? Imagine how the world, not only the world around us, but the world can change by just adopting this philosophy. And we talk about different philosophies on how we should be treating each other and things like that.
But keeping it so simple.
But keeping it simple. This tool, I'm glad that he doesn't call it anything else other than a tool, because it is a tool, and that he's speaking to teens that are, look, as a teenager, we're all full of ourselves. We're full of our hormones, or we're all over the place. Yep. We are trying to figure life out. Some teens think that they have life figured out.
Most of us did think that. And the thing is that mostly we're just trying to figure out exactly how we're supposed to navigate this stuff. And we don't really want to listen to adults, but like all we have to do is listen to adults. Like that's all we have to listen to. So it's really a pivotal time. It's really one of the most pivotal times in our lives.
And there's nobody let's be honest here. There's nobody teaching them this.
Yeah.
It's rare to find someone teaching a fundamental tool to teens
for mental health.
For mental health. And this is something that can transform the rest of their life, change the trajectory of where they're going. Because everyone these days are telling our youth, telling society that it's all about, you know, where they come from, and their identity is where they come from, whether it's economic or social, and then that is their identity, and therefore that equates to who they are for the rest of their life, and there's nothing that they could do about it. And I don't think that's true at all. And he's proof.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
So listen, anyway. You guys, I urge you to go back and listen to the rest of this if you're just joining us at the end here. And, you know, it's something that is super important to make sure that you're implementing in your own life as an example to those young adults or those young children in your life, because it's all of our responsibility and our duty to make sure that we're living that way, and that will impact the rest of the world.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're raising a teen, check out that summit. It's free. Yes, like he said, that it has an additional cost if you wanted to take advantage of the VIP, but I think it'll be well worth well worth this for your teen and you.
So listen, if you guys want to connect with us, after this, if you want to go deeper with us, make sure you jump over to our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/adapt and overcome your health. And also, you remember, if you want to sponsor this show, or if you want to connect with us on a coaching call, or go deeper with us, and you just want to follow up because you want to talk about something that you need help with, make sure you jump over to javiandjessicamadrigal.com. We'd be happy to work with you, to speak with you, meet with you, and also celebrate your wins with you. If you've got something that you've overcome in your life and you want to talk to us about it, we want to high five you for that. We want to really talk about the things that are going right, not just always the things that aren't working.
Yeah,
So make
exactly
sure you
right.
connect with us if you want to. We are happy to do that. We love connecting with you. So we hope you have an amazing week. We will see you next week with another incredible guest. And we hope that this impacts and inspires your life.
All right, guys, have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.